welcome everybody to the vertical showing of the 12 o'clock show with Mayor Joe. Joining me today is Reynoldsburg Education Foundation board member Debbie Dunlap.
Yeah, actual chair.
Actual chair. All right, so we got to get the title in there. And this will be by far the shortest show that Debbie has been on because she has to be out of here at a certain time. It's still going to be an hour and a half long, but it's going to be the shortest amount of time all the way around. So obviously the Education Foundation is a huge thing, and it's going to be more important now more than ever with everything else going on in the district. So why don't you tell everybody a little bit about the overall goals of the Reynoldsburg Education Foundation?
Okay, well, the Education Foundation, and forgive me if you've kind of heard this spiel before, but it was founded by myself and my good friend Margaret Mary Lesney. We were at the old Reynoldsburg pool, cracked this idea that we wanted to do something to help our community and our school district. And so we thought Reynoldsburg Education Foundation, so many other school districts have foundations, a 501c3 nonprofit, to kind of help fill in where other funding does not cover. And if you've been watching the news, the cracks are growing wider and wider. So foundations like ours are probably more important than ever before. We're relatively new to the scene, 6-7 years old. We did a little bit of a year of research and what have you before we kind of started, and we started at Christmas on the Town with our very first fundraiser. I'm going to read our mission. So our mission is to empower Reynoldsburg City School students and educators by enhancing and enriching opportunities through charitable donations, community engagement, and support that develops and nurtures the whole child. And that was really important to us. You know, we want a district that nurtures the whole child. So not just academics, but the arts and music, wraparound services, providing opportunities for our students when they might not get them in school or out of school. So, so we've been around now, as I said, about 6-7 years, and relatively new to the scene because most districts had a 501c3 or an education foundation for many years. But we're really proud of some of our accomplishments. So some of our other goals that we're looking at as we move forward, and we'll talk a little bit more about how we raise our money and where the money has gone. But we want to work with the district a little bit further. Dr. Reed has started an alumni association, and it's kind of a fledgling, very small, and we would like to partner with them to actually grow that and tap into not only the talents, but maybe some of the dollars and knowledge of our our alumni and former students. We'd like to increase some of our dollars for grants and for scholarships for our students, and I have a little announcement to make about that. We'd like to bolster our volunteer base. So if anything, at the end of this, if you would like to go to our website, you can contact us, get some information. We have, if you'd like to be on the board, there's an application that you can fill out there. You can send us a message if you'd just like to volunteer. So we're really looking to bolster that volunteer base. And then finally, I think we really like to increase our partnerships with other community members and organizations, which we've been slowly working on as we've built that foundation for ourselves. And then also with some other area businesses here in Reynoldsburg.
So that is an awful lot. And so one of the things that's cool about it is we talk about some of the things that you do with these funds.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the scholarship program. What are some of the examples of, and I don't want to say your favorite, but what are some of your examples of some of the scholarships that you've given as far as to the staff over the last couple of years? Anything
Okay.
jump out at you?
Oh gosh, there's so many. Because they're really very innovative in the classroom, and some I have to say are some things are needed, right? And sometimes those extra dollars just aren't there. We talk about this all the time, how teachers pull so much money out of their own budgets and their own pockets to be able to fund things in their classroom. But a couple of the really big things I loved. Summit Road Elementary did some garden boxes. And that was really neat because the fruits of their labor, they could taste the fruits of their labor. And they invited me back to have a salad.
What you did there?
Yeah, but it was vegetables. Darn it. So they came back and invited me out to have a salad from their garden, which was just amazing. So to be able to reap what they sow, look, I'm full of them today. was wonderful in that one. There's another one, Christy Calkins over at Wagner Road Elementary put together a couple of backpacks for the outdoors, one for the lower grades, one for the upper elementary grades. And there's so much nature in that area, and these backpacks are for each of those grades to go out and explore, and there's a list of everything that the teacher can do. So literally the teacher checks it out, puts it on their back, and they go out into nature there and they explore. And she had a supplemental grant that we just awarded this year, and it's for some chairs. So now they can take some chairs with them and maybe not sit on the grass, but do some other things. So those are a couple. There are so many because I have a list of some of them. I mean, they vary so much. Printmaking, emotional regulation room, outdoor backpack exploration kits, that's the one I talked about from Christy Calkins. Interactive weather station, outdoor container gardens, that was the one I talked about from Summit. Ballet shoes for high schoolers. We have ballet mat and this great partnership, but so many of the kids didn't have ballet shoes or tap one year, and we were able to provide those, not for the kids to take home, but to keep in the classroom so they're not sliding and slipping all over the place. Very important when you're doing tap and ballet.
Of course.
Mini library for ELL, our English language learners. A musical program at the elementary school, Beast Academy curriculum, which is like comic book curriculum. And if you have, especially I would want to say boys in the house, you know how graphic novels and comic books are so important to get them to read. Maker spaces and so much more. So to date, we have awarded $16,000 to Reynoldsburg teachers in the form of mini grants. And they started at $250. Then they went to $350. All right, drum roll. We have now voted that we are going to increase those into $500 each next year.
Yeah.
So met one of our, we have 5-year and 10-year goals, and so we met one of our 5-year goals to be able to do that. So super excited.
Well, it's a lot of fun, but it's also a lot of work because you have to figure out ways to get this money in the first place. So we know that there's some fundraisers and some things like that. You mentioned the one that you did already, for some, with
Christmas on the Town. Mm-hmm.
So we know you're here for the big one that's coming up. So why don't you talk about that one before we get to the other ones?
Okay. Well, so this one in particular, before I talk about it, the money will go particularly to our Washington, D.C. Scholarship program. So, I said, here is the Reynoldsburg Education Foundation. We have, right now, kind of two sides of the house. We have the grants for teachers and we have scholarships. In addition, so with the grants for teachers, we just talked about that, $16,000. But we have the 8th grade DC scholarship program, and that's probably the one that we were most excited about, and we wanted to start first because we know that there are 8th graders who aren't able to go on this trip, rite of passage when you're in 8th grade, right? Not only is it memorable, it's a great educational experience, just so many things. And so we wanted to be able to help with that. So all the money goes to the scholarship program for the 8th grade students going to Washington, D.C. To date, and that includes this year, we have awarded $9,000 in scholarships through the Reynoldsburg Education Foundation for that. So a big moneymaker for that is the Designer Purse Bingo. So that is April 12th. Everybody loves bingo, right? So you pay one price, only $40. You get breakfast, you get 2 mimosas included in that, and you get 10 bingo cards. We will have 11 games, but of course you will have a favorite purse. Mm-hmm. So you will have the opportunity to buy more bingo cards to have better chances to win the purse that you dream of, okay? And last year was our inaugural, and we had a great time. It was so much fun. This year, a few things differently. We are doubling the size, so we are over at Blacklick Woods Golf Course at the banquet room. So we're gonna have 100 people there instead of our 50 from last year. And then this year, our grand purse, I don't have it with me today yet, but watching, I'm gonna do a video when I go to the store, is a Louis Vuitton. Yes, the air just escaped out of the room. Yes, a Louis Vuitton. So, it's a gorgeous evening purse. I've picked it out already. It's about this size, gorgeous gold chain, and so that will be our grand prize that I know everyone will be wanting to win. We also have our wine pool, so we have all sorts of wine. They're covered, and people can go ahead and choose and be surprised what kind of wine they get. You know, inexpensive or maybe very expensive. It's kind of
Just kind of depends. Yeah.
It's a little bit of a game of chance as well. And it's just a good time had by all. So I did bring a few purses today, if I can bring them out. I went shopping this weekend. All right,
It's a rough job, let me tell you.
Oh, it's rough, right? Except all the things I want and I can't have because I can't play the game. So to start, here's a beautiful Kate Spade. I love the yellow, very springy. Again, April 12th is the designer purse bingo. So a lovely spring bag. And then I have, tuck that in, another Reynoldsburg purple Kate Spade. We have some suede and leather. It's very roomy inside, so very gorgeous. We had a purple one last year that was, it was a Kate Spade. People really wanted that one too. All right, and then we have a nice little Coach evening bag. So if you like silver, the Louis Vuitton is gold, but this one's silver. Nice little evening bag. And then we have another Coach, sort of your traditional design. So nice and roomy inside. All of them have extra straps and what have you.
Plenty of space for keys.
Yeah.
Put things in there.
Yes.
It's always good.
We have 2 Dooney and Burkes that are still on the way, and 3 Michael Kors. 3 Michael Kors that I picked out, but they're being shipped to us from the store.
Okay.
And then, of course, the Louis Vuitton, and I think that should round that out too. So,
A lot
and
of
even
good opportunities.
yes, lots of opportunities. You know, if we have ties, we have some other giveaways. You can get wine. You have a beautiful brunch, mimosas, just fun with friends. And again, all the money goes to the 8th grade Washington, D.C. scholarship program. So to a great cause.
It's a lot of fun. My wife enjoyed it last year. Obviously, I'm a big purse guy myself, so really excited about it. But I'm pretty sure that there might be somebody in this room that might want to buy a ticket just because of the opportunity, but we'll see.
If I can just plug that
please, yeah.
again, so if you're looking to go, we've sold 40 out of our 100 tickets in just 2 weeks, okay? So we have about another month, so they're going to go fast, I know. And if you want to purchase them, just go to our website. There's a QR code, there is a link, easy way. And again, for $40, and if you've looked around at some other places, they're usually 50 on up. You're going to get a brunch, 2 mimosas, and 10 cards. I think it's a good deal.
And it's for a very good cause.
Yes. Yeah.
So I know there's some other things that you do as well. You talked about the things that you did, the Christmas on the Town. What can community members do if they don't have the opportunity to go to this particular? What can other community members do to help support the teachers and the students by extension by supporting the Education Foundation?
Mm-hmm. So again, I'm always trying to recruit volunteers.
Mm-hmm.
We have a relatively small board. When you get a little bit more mature as an organization or a 501c3 nonprofit, usually your board doesn't work as hard, right? My board works very hard right now. We're kind of in the infancy stages, still working on our volunteer base, and so we always need lots of extra people to help run these events, and I'll tell you about the other events in a minute. So, that's a way that they could support us, because the more hands we have, the more things that we can do, and then the more money that we can make for our students and our teachers here in Reynoldsburg. Another way, if you go to the website, super easy to remember, www.reynoldsburgeducationfoundation.org, there are areas there that you can give. And so if you would like to just give a monetary donation, that would help us out so much as well. So we have some other events that might interest you. We have Christmas on the Town. I mentioned that, but what that is that we have a $500 pot, and $250 goes to the school of our raffle winner's choice, and the other $250 the raffle winner gets to keep right before Christmas. It's perfect. This year we had a a second grader at Slate Ridge Elementary who so generously gave her portion back to the school so they could use the entire $500 for something in the school. Then we also have, because I want to make sure I got the date right, the Mulligan Golf Classic. And so that is a golf outing. It's a scramble that we co-host with Heart Food Pantry. And that changed last year to the Westchester Golf Course. And it was really neat. You were out there as well to welcome everybody. And it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun until my husband, he's going to kill me for telling this. I won't tell it all. But he decided to just save a few dollars and go hunting for some balls that were in a pond. Well, the footing on the side was not very steady, so in the pond he went. Yes, so needless to say, he smelled awful the rest of the tournament. But besides that mishap, it's so much fun. And the golfers turn out. It was a gorgeous course. There are lots of little games along the way that people can participate in a 50-50. There's a lunch afterwards. So it's a great day. It's a lot of fun. Again, money going towards a great cause, the Reynoldsburg Education Foundation and Heart Food Pantry.
Well, looking forward. Do you have a date for that?
So that is September 20th.
Is it the same location?
No, yes, at Westchester. Yep.
Okay.
So it's at Westchester, September 20th. We always try to make sure that it doesn't interfere with an OSU game or at least one that really matters.
Is later in the They all matter.
Sorry. Yeah. Okay. So yes, the Mulligan Golf Classic, and then of course we have our gala every year, and our gala is going to change a little bit this year. So we've had it at 1883 locale for the past 3 years, and so 1883 locale sadly went away, and so we took this opportunity to look for a new venue. And so we're going to switch it until maybe February. So we're not going to have one this fall. It's going to move to February. And then we're looking to change up the theme a little bit. Before it's been kind of a dress-up event. But I think we're looking at it a little bit more either themed or just kind of casual party. So we're kind of tossing that around still. We love the student art auction part of it though. So that will definitely return. We have students who do artwork and they go up for sale. We have raffle baskets, those are auctioned off. So some of those pieces and parts will stay. The last one, which you attended as well, such a great supporter of the Education Foundation. We had a DJ, although I don't think I remember seeing you out on the dance floor.
And we're all thankful for that.
So, but everybody had a great time with the DJ, and the dancing. So I think we're reading the messages and saying if we want to grow a little bit and have something that's a little more in tune, maybe with a
little more casual.
Yeah, then we're gonna switch it up a little bit this year.
Well, I like the fact that each of the schools had their own kind of basket of things, and so I know last year Wagner Road Elementary was the one that I ended up picking because it had a blanket, and there's never enough blankets in my house for my kids. The other one was, I believe it was French Run is the other one that I ended up snagging as well. So there are always good things in there. That one was the kind of like win the lottery thing, so they had all the scratch offs, and so we won $6 out of all of that, so it was pretty cool. It was a highly attractive item.
Another big part of that event that will move is we are always recognizing our Education Foundation grant winners at that event. So that's a way to kind of invite them to a fun event that they don't have to pay for, they can enjoy, as a way of saying, hey, thanks for taking the time to apply for this grant and do a really amazing things for our kids. So we will be continuing that as well.
All right, awesome. Any questions specifically for Debbie and the Education Foundation?
Nope.
All right.
Can I just add a couple extra things?
I wouldn't be shocked if you did.
Right, exactly. So I just wanted to say that so far we have also invested $30,000 in the Columbus Foundation. And so this is our little nest egg. Maybe the markets aren't doing so great right now, but this is more long term. We have been able to recoup some money, and this is going to start funding some other scholarships and things within the Reynoldsburg education for years to come. So that nest egg we know will grow over time. We also, this year for the very first time, involved with the Martin Luther King Breakfast and the Martin Luther King Jr. Scholarship, which was wonderful. As part of, I said, one of the things we've been trying to do is reach out to more community members and community groups. we partnered with the city and Council President Jeanette Strickland on this one, and we coordinated the scholarship. We were able to donate $500 for, $250 for one of the, no, 500. That was 500 this year, sorry.
Somewhere between $250 and $500.
For one of the scholarships this year, which was, it was the first time. Usually we get donations, so we decided to do that ourselves, and that was wonderful. The 3 winners, they either had to write a letter or some type of writing a prose poem to Martin Luther King Jr., and they were just beautiful, and they were very, very moving. So that was wonderful to be part of that. And then we're also part of the Phyllis Mayberry scholarship, and so Phyllis Mayberry, how do I say this? She's worked for the district longer than any other employee. I don't want to say oldest, right?
Yeah.
So than any other employee in the Reynoldsburg City School District. She's a bus driver and is so dedicated, best dressed too. Best dressed, not only bus driver, I mean, she's always dressed to the T's, or dressed to the nines. And so there's the Mayberry Scholarship, and named after her because she cares about her students so much.
Yep.
And so she picks one of her special needs students each year who is just shining and showing that light, and they are the recipient of a scholarship for further education. So we are able to sponsor that for the past 2 years. Looking over my notes, I think that's it then.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I know you're busy and you got a lot of things to do. You're more than welcome to stay as I talk about some other things, but if you have to go, I know this is probably the first time you may have to.
Well, I'm a little early, so
All right.
21 minutes?
Yeah, let's understand
I'll
that
stay and
usually
listen a
these
little
things last longer as we go through. So talking about the schools, obviously that's the next topic. So tonight is the Reynoldsburg City School District's State of the Schools, and that's going to be at the Summit campus. It's going to start at 6 o'clock, and the State of the Schools is going to end at 7. And there's going to be a lot of different things going on. There's some performances that are going to be there. I know one of the recipients of the scholarship is actually going to be doing her spoken word poem there, and we'll get an idea of what's going on. But the other part that is just as important is the second half of that, from 7 to 8 o'clock, is actually going to be community engagement, and it's an opportunity for residents to engage with the organization that's trying to help develop a strategic plan about the future of Reynoldsburg City Schools. So if you ever want a time to make your feelings known about the school district, I know they've sent out a survey recently.
Yep.
So hopefully you got that out. But this is an opportunity person to person where you can do that. It's at the Summit campus, again from 6 to 7. It will be live streamed, the first portion of it. I'm going to bet the strategic session probably not so much, because there's going to be a lot of different groupings and things like that. But this is your opportunity to go do that. Board member office hours. Board member Neil Whitman continues to do his online office hours every Friday from 3 to 4 at the Graham Road Welcome Center. Also tonight, for those of you that like playing cards, I saw this and I wanted to throw it in there. One of the best clubs that Reynoldsburg has to offer is the Leo Club.
Oh, yeah.
And they raise money for pediatric cancer, and they're having a euchre tournament tonight where the proceeds are going to go for pediatric cancer research. So Jimmy V's on the corner of Summit and Broad Street. It's kind of Reynoldsburg, kind of Itascula, but we're claiming credit for it because we're going to be there tonight. That also happens tonight, so go ahead and check that out. And then this is something that I had the opportunity. So the last couple of years, Mr. Alexander has had from the Summit campus, he has had the opportunity to invite representatives from the city and the school district and other members to come in and listen to students as they develop what they feel is a community project. But what's interesting about it is it's one thing to identify a problem. It's another thing to figure out, okay, how do we fix it? How do we address it? What steps do we have to take? So that's how the process goes. So they come in and they kind of pitch their ideas to members of city council, members of the school board,
Yeah, I've done this before.
and they go back, and then it's their job, city council and school board, is to basically kind of almost pick them apart a little bit and say, okay, did you think about this? Did you think about that? And then they go back and they rehash and reevaluate and then present a final presentation. And I had the opportunity last Friday and a little bit, or actually on Monday, all day Monday, and then a little bit yesterday to hear them up. And these were some of the topics. So the topics are selected by the students. These are not assigned. So basically, whatever the students feel is their most important thing, this is what they talk about. First one, probably the most out of all of them, was litter and school cleanliness. So it was litter in general for Reynoldsburg, but it was also some very specific to the high schools themselves. And it was interesting because not only did they say, yes, there's litter, There's a lot of self-owning in that. Kids were talking about how, yeah, we know we have to do better, our peers have to do better. One group even came in wearing trash bags to kind of symbolize what they're doing with that, which was kind of a good
Creative.
call. But they actually had plans, and they talked about if we designate this zone here for this part of the, for this grade level, this zone for that grade level, some competition between some things, and that, which I thought was kind of good. School spirit, I didn't know if you noticed there's this basketball team that's doing pretty well in Reynoldsburg.
Right.
Yeah. So they talked about school spirit and finding a way to bring school spirit back, because ever since COVID, it's been harder to get people really pumped up for everything. I know when the bowling team went to states, they got an escort from the pep band through the halls last week, which was pretty cool, but they want to take it to a different level. Had one really cool one about handicap accessibility in parks, which is good because those are things that we're already incorporating into it, but it was nice to see people recognize the need for that, not just in current park at JFK, which is probably our most accessible, but other ones as well. And then of course ones that kind of like leaned a little bit on the city, shopping options. Everybody wants nice things, and so they actually picked a very specific business, Trader Joe's, and talked about what it would take to get a Trader Joe's into Reynoldsburg. And so we went through some of those options. And you could really substitute Trader Joe's and put anything in there. I know Chili's was a restaurant that was there. Obviously Roosters, we're working on it still, but those are some of the things that were there. And then two other ones that jumped up, and these are ones that I know that you had as well. Sex education was actually in every presentation group, so 3 different classes, 3 different groups wanted it because of the lack of it that is offered in the state of Ohio. It's not really a Reynoldsburg thing, this is a state of Ohio thing, because the only topic that the State House has 100% complete control over, not the Department of Education, and really to a lesser extent, not even the local boards have this, it's the State House, and they control what is and is not sex ed. And they presented their information about why they felt that it should be more involved, that there should be more age-appropriate instruction, specifically at the high school level. Everybody talked about their 5th grade experience that most of them don't remember, and that was incredibly awkward for everyone. And then you go to high school, and then you have to make it even more awkward, but that just isn't there. And there were some things of that nature that they wanted to talk about. And then the last one, which I think is the most important, especially considering the cuts that are coming, mental health.
Yeah.
And how do we deal with everything? Being a teenager is not the easiest under the best of circumstances, and whatever people feel is the most ideal lifestyle or whatnot. But the things that kids are faced with today are significantly more difficult than they were even when I was growing up, because we have this thing called
social media.
And that changes a lot of things. And there's influences with that. And they actually had some decent conversations about what they could do both inside the school, outside of the school, to kind of address some of those issues. Some of it obviously comes to funding issues, because you need to find somebody who's going to be able to help as far as social workers and counselors and things like that. But the reason why I bring it up is because it was consistent all the way throughout. In each 3 different classes, 3 different types of groups, and they were all talking about how that can be an impact. And it was everything from sometimes the stresses of the academic portion of high school life, and then obviously the socialized version of everything. So those were there, but ultimately each one of the presentations was very good. They addressed a problem, they talked about obstacles, and they presented solutions to it. And every time we do this, for people who have not had the experiences of being a high school teacher, which is a lot of the members of council and things of that nature, they're always amazed by how much more prepared and aware our students are than what the general perception is. We constantly undersell how good a lot of our students are.
I agree.
And we don't always highlight that, and that is something that is huge. So when people have their issues with Reynoldsburg City Schools, and believe me, we have Reynolds, there's issues with schools, there's issues with the city and all of that. One thing that I think is probably an overstatement is there really aren't as many issues with our students as we think. I think our students are a lot better off than most people do. They just need the support and help from everybody in the community in ways that we probably don't realize. So try and support
Great
that.
Leaders if you give them the
Yes.
opportunity and sometimes the financial backing or the support.
Yep, and they have it.
Yeah.
So moving on from that, we have everybody's favorite, the updates. So I'm gonna try and borrow Jasmine here. Jennifer's on vacation or something like that. She says it's working. I think she just went to Nashville to get a hat. But that's basically what she did. So Wagner Road is, the bridge is open, and the bridge will remain open for a little while. Well, the bridge is open for good now. But the 2-way traffic from Main Street to Broad Street will be there for a while. But the first thing that's going to happen is probably in about a week or so, The culvert by Priestley is going to be shut down. It'll be shut down for probably 7 to 10 days while they replace that particular culvert. And then once they are done with that location, then they will move to the next one, which is right by St. Pius. Now, originally, all of this was supposed to happen kind of right after we opened the bridge, and it's shut down the culvert at Priestley. But AT&T, under some new guidance that they've issued, they have very specific requirements to make sure that everybody maintains the services that they're getting, and they were running behind on some materials, which they're working on now, so we had to delay working on the culvert, because basically, if we didn't, we would be cutting off everybody's phones and internet and everything else like that. So once that part is done, then we will go ahead and move forward with the rest project. So that's something that's out there. Once we have a definitive date of when that culvert's going to close down, you will know. You'll have north and south access from Main Street to wherever the culvert is, and then you'll have north and southbound access from Broad Street to that same location. So it's just going to be there. And then after both of those are done, which again will probably take 15 work days, then it will just be northbound traffic from Main Street until you get to just after Priestley, right before Amelia. That'll be the last turnaround area. But don't worry, I felt that it was incumbent upon me to find ways to provide additional road construction to everyone. So if you're living on Wagner, you have it, and I know you want to share the wealth. So we will have a little bit. It's not going to be road construction. It's actually going to be sewer construction. So if you are traveling on Summit Road or on Taylor Road, and you may see by the Kroger some major equipment, we will be extending a very large sewer line from that area. It's going to be underground, but some of the work will be on the road. So this will be done at night. So they will probably start around 6 o'clock, and they will work from there. And they're going to be basically putting in a very, very, very large sewer line, and that will extend all the way, as you can see, to the new development that's being created there at the end, and it will get all the way to Summit Road, which will also allow for a couple of things. One, you can take that down now. One, it will allow access for some commercial development at the land that's vacant on the south side of Summit Elementary School, so that is going to be something that we're working on. It will also provide additional sewer capacity for the areas that are in there. And when the school district does finally build a middle school, this will actually be able to provide the sewer capacity needed for that building to operate as well. And the nice thing about all of this is, because of a public-private partnership and some creative financing, this is actually coming at absolutely zero cost to the residents of Reynoldsburg. We got $1.3 million in grant funding from the state, and we're working with MI Homes and other entities to go ahead and finish the rest of this off, so we don't necessarily have to basically pay for it out of our pockets. And it's going to be able to present a lot of opportunities again for the school, for additional jobs, and the sewer flow all the way across, which is something that is very much needed. So we're very proud about that, but it is going to be there. Once we have a little bit more definitive timeline on it, we'll let you know. But again, it's not going to be something where during the daytime hours it's going to be there, because it's going to be off to the site, off to the road a little bit. And the only impact is going to be when they're actually on the Taylor Road side. So basically, you'll still have 2 lanes on Taylor Road, but most of the work will be, their equipment will be staged in that last lane on the eastern side of Taylor Road, and then the equipment will actually be in that area, so that'll be a good thing. And when I say eastern part, I mean when you're going that way from here, because some people are directionally challenged. That's my system. We also have news of the Taylor Road and 70 project. So about a week ago, they did get authorization for their next batch of funding, and this is what they call the right-of-way acquisition. So all the land that the Ohio Department of Transportation has to purchase for this particular area for this project is now being given to them, which means they're going to be doing that over the next year. Once they get the final funding, which should be early next year, they'll be getting ready for construction, which is scheduled to start in 2027. So if you are driving on Taylor Road towards Walmart, instead of veering and turning towards Walmart, if you just look kind of straight ahead and you see kind of 70 up on the distance, that's where the intersection is going to be. We have our kickoff meeting tomorrow with our street engineers, as well as representatives hopefully from Etna Township, and we're going to be talking about, okay, when this gets built, what's that going to do to traffic in that area? Because while we control one section, Etna Township controls the Palmer and Taylor intersection, and then it comes back to Reynoldsburg, so we have to figure out what to do, and we're doing that now, so that way when that's under construction, we're prepared and ready for whatever comes next. So that's that. Any questions about anything?
We got one that came in, and they would like to know, would it be possible to have a student art group paint a mural on the concrete wall along the Blacklick Creek Trail just north of the Main Street Bridge?
On the concrete wall, can they? Yes, I would like to say that there's not an issue in environmental things, just because it's paint and all of that. I know that there's some people that don't ask permission to go ahead and paint things under that bridge, but that is something, and that's something that we can definitely talk about. I would
That would
like to
be
get some more student
beautiful,
art.
yeah.
Especially when you're getting
The
close to
murals.
like the tomato festival thing where people are kind of walking under that bridge to get to the main festival.
Public
grounds.
art for everyone to enjoy.
Yep.
I love it.
Speaking of Tomato Festival, I do have a couple of questions here. One says, any updates on the Tomato Festival lineup? No. Thursday night, we have Arena Rock. We have not established who's gonna be kind of like opening that particular thing. Friday night, we do have an R&B act scheduled, but we're contractually obligated to not tell you who it is because of rules, whatever, boring. And then Saturday night, we have Dylan Carmichael and, I always forget the last name. Eddie
Yes.
Eddie Montgomery. Dylan Carmichael and Eddie Montgomery from Country Artists will be there singing about all things country, whatever those things may be. So that will be on Saturday night, but we don't have those early acts identified. We try to go local for some of those, like some small, like local regional things to kind of kick some of those things off, so. Got that one. And then the other one, are plastic bags still being collected for a park bench? Yes. Because we've done a really good job, they've raised the weight that is required. So instead of 500 pounds, they've raised it to 1,000 pounds. So we've already gotten, we've gotten 2, and I think we actually submitted for a 3rd, and we're up to about 500 pounds right now. But they're also limiting it by, used to be once every 6 months, now it's once every year. So we're still getting the park benches, but because we have done such a good job of it, it's gonna make, they're trying to get, make sure it takes us a little bit longer. And the last question from a resident, request to change the speeding fine, had the 2nd reading on Monday night. How soon after the 3rd reading will they go into effect? That's actually a good question. So if someone is speeding on the roads, not her, but someone who knows her, if someone is speeding and they are going over 15 miles an hour, but under 50 miles an hour, there was a $120 maximum fine for a ticket, unless you're in a school zone, of course, then it becomes more. However, this would change the rules that if you're going 15 miles an hour, regardless of area of town, regardless if it was over 50 or not, that would actually increase the fine from $120 to $200. Because a lot of people in residential areas, even if you're going 15 miles an hour in a residential, you're still not going 50, but you're going way too fast for residentials. So that will be something that will be an increase in fines. There's no emergency language attached to this, so what will most likely happen, if it is approved by council at the next meeting, it will go into effect 30 days after. So you'll have a little bit of time. My guess is there'll be a traffic blitz not long after that. So just a thought. So those are some good questions from there. Programming, we have our Community Cleanup Day on April 26th. I know I put the word out to the elementary schools so they can do some contests to design our t-shirts.
Nothing like competition.
No, it's a little bit, it's fun because they actually get to talk about and draw what they feel is the best thing for Reynoldsburg from an environmental standpoint. So it's always pretty cool, and they're better artists than I ever could be. We will include hazardous materials at this location as well. So it will be, hazardous materials will be over at the Huber Park area, but everything else for the most part will be over here at City Hall, and we'll get more information out of there. Unfortunately, I heard the Princess Party was canceled because of low enrollment, so no one will be able to celebrate and sing songs, organized anyway, in Reynoldsburg. I'm sure there'll be plenty of people still doing that, which actually I thought it was interesting because somebody said, oh, I wish I had known that this was going on, which is always the struggle. How do we make sure that we get this information out to people? Because again, it's, yes, we send the heirlooms out, yes, we have things on social media, and I've talked about it, but sometimes it's one of those things where there's so much, it's hard to always keep up with it. One thing that is coming up is the Adult Cornhole League. That'll be May 6th through June 24th at Eastside Brewery. That's going to be from 6 to 9. Get a team together. It's $40 per team for a maximum of 5 people, so you can kind of sub some people in and out. We also have the Easter Breakfast Bunny, and I'm going to bet you money that that one's not going to get canceled because everybody likes to go and see the bunny. Eggs, sausage, pancakes, fruits, crafts, and games, and I'm sure somebody's going to be singing something out there. Civic Park Volunteer Cleanup with Franklin Soil and Water is going to be on Saturday, April 5th from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. and that's going to be at the back part of Civic Park. Just walk and look for people that have donuts, and then they'll tell you where to cut, and then you can get a donut. And then we have the Arbor Day Coloring Contest for 2nd graders in Reynoldsburg, and here's the form. You can see it online. If you are to color this and make it all pretty and you are the winner, you'll get it recognized at our Arbor Day celebration as well, which is a lot of fun. So go ahead and check that out. We've got co-rec softball are going to start up in Tuesday nights at Civic Park at 6 p.m. and later as the kind of time goes on, so check those out as well. Tomorrow night we have our BYOB, and this is our Build Your Own Business. So if you want to be your own boss, you can actually go and learn how do you arrange the financing? What do you do about insurance? All of those business plan ideas will be, people will be able to help you with that. Or if you just want to look for a job in general, anything from kind of entry level to some management level stuff, there'll be some great businesses there, so check that out. That'll be at the Reynoldsburg Community Church on Thursday night starting at 6 o'clock, so that's going to be a lot of fun. We also have our Minority, Female, and Veteran Business Grant. The applications went live on Monday, and so you have until the end of the month to apply for a grant up to $10,000 for some of our businesses that are there to kind of grow their business. There's a very lengthy process, but it's not overly complicated. It's just paperwork that you can fill out. Check it out on the website. If you have any questions, just let us know. Happy anniversary to Raider Nutrition. This Saturday is going to be their 5th anniversary. So they opened up right before everything shut down for COVID. So that was really good luck, but they're still here. So that's going to be on the 15th from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Celebrations, raffles, prizes, all sorts of stuff, and some great food as well. We also have the grand opening of Brewster's Ice Cream. Yes, they're open. They're just doing some reviewing inside on some things. That's going to be Friday, March 21st through Sunday, March 23rd. There's going to be a ribbon cutting at 2 p.m. on Friday. They're going to have some different people come around and be a celebrity scooper. There's going to be all sorts of ice cream, including, strawberry ice cream, cookies and cream, birthday, everything else. So hopefully you can join us for that.
Can I interject
Yeah.
something? Do you know that the co-owners of Brewster's Ice Cream first tasted it in Erie, Pennsylvania at Waldemere Park, which is where I'm from, grew up, go to Waldemere from a kid on up. My patrol picnic was there, went there all the time, still go, take my kids. And when I learned that, I'm like, well,
It's a small world after all.
it is.
So I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be fun. So that'll be there, especially now that the weather's getting warmer. There's something, It's not that trust me, I can eat ice cream when it's
Yes.
10 degrees below zero, but when it's a little warmer out, it makes it more fun. I also have a kind of interesting news. May 6th, there's not going to be a lot on the ballot in Reynoldsburg, but there is going to be one issue that is going to be around for the statewide. It's actually called the Ohio Public Works Commission Grant. So every 10 years, going back to 1987, they basically established a grant that funds from the state of Ohio can be used to help municipalities and other communities generate revenue for road and construction projects. So it's called the OPWC grant for short. So Reynoldsburg has been very successful with this. It helped pay for a large majority of our Main Street project, Wagner Road project. We're getting money for that for the Summit Road project. It does not raise your taxes. So what they do is the state actually bonds the funding from it, and then the interest on the bonds basically pays out the rest of it, and the state picks up the tab for it, usually through things like a gas tax or other fees that come along. But it allows communities to actually apply for competitively apply for bonds to help their road projects. They have to reauthorize it every 10 years. It is a good deal, and it does not cost you anything. There's no tax increase with it. I highly recommend you take a look at it. It's some good information. I know for us, Wagner Road, Main Street, Summit, those things would not exist without it, because it helps just make the difference a little bit easier for municipalities to get some of that work done. So I recommend you support that. We also have, as last week we talked about, the Reynoldsburg Community Association Spaghetti Dinner. That's going to be on Saturday, March 29th from 5 to 8 at Messiah Lutheran. I think I've seen you there a little bit at times for that. So
Spaghetti is always good.
It's always good. So check that out. We also have our Celebrate USA 2050. Believe it or not, we're getting to just over a year away from the 250th birthday of the United States. So we have to figure out how we're doing that. Got a lot of cool things in plan, but if you're interested, reach out to us and let us know. And the last topic that I have for tonight, any questions so far? Anything come in?
We have one about the community cleanup, and they want to know, will hazardous waste include AA and AAA batteries? And I believe the answer to that is I don't remember off the top of my head, but if you go to the city website underneath the communications and events tab, there's a page for the community cleanup, and it tells you everything that's accepted and not accepted.
Yeah, and I think the big thing to not bring are tires. I think that's probably the big thing, but I think pretty much a lot of everything else is relatively good.
Yes, I think they take the batteries, but I can't say 100% for sure. But everything's on the website.
And we're going to have that advertised more and more as we get a little bit closer. It's still a little bit further out, even though we're already almost at the middle of March already.
Yep.
So this is the one that I have a question. There's been a lot of talk about town halls over the last couple of weeks in the United States about people having town halls or not having town halls. I'm just curious, is anybody interested if we did a town hall here to talk about things like development or the streets or just general questions about how the state and the federal and the local governments kind of interact and impact each other? Would that be something that would be interesting to people who are, for all of the viewers who are live and who watch it later? If you let us know, I have no issues. I think it would be a good thing to do. We could do it sometime in April and just kind of have a random Q&A session. There's no agenda, there's no anything where it's like a scripted thing. This is more of a Q&A that people can ask questions. We would obviously do it at night, so I'm also, it's not like a Joe show, but it's honestly an opportunity for residents to ask questions about things that they're curious about that might not have the opportunity otherwise. If that's something you think we should do, let us know. I think I'm going to try and do it. I may try and bring our state representatives that represent Reynoldsburg, or state senators. I may invite them if they want to come along. That's fine. Odds are it'll probably just be me with a microphone and sitting there answering questions from everybody if we have somebody show up. But that's an opportunity. I just wanted to put it out there just because there's a lot of things going on. A lot of people have questions, but they don't always know how to ask, where to ask, or what to ask. And so this might be an opportunity to just kind of have those kind of casual conversations. So let us know in the chat if that's something that you would be interested in attending, because I don't want to be the only person here with a microphone just talking to no one. Be more fun the other way. And last but not least, we have a great show lined up next week. We have two people that are going to come and talk about Reynoldsburg in different ways. We have Natalie Morrison, who represents the Reynoldsburg Visitors Bureau. She's going to be here. She's very much looking forward to the show. She's not really. But she's going to be here representing, because we're going to talk about the Visitors Bureau and everything else that goes along with that, including its future, the magazine, and all of these other different things. And I did snag Ohio Education Association President Scott DeMauro is going to come. There are a lot of bills going on at the State House right now about anything from removing dealing with what is and what is not taught. They've already had a bill that's gone through about how a state wants to deal with higher education. Now they're looking to move it to K-12 education. There's talk about completely scrapping the current funding system for students in general that was introduced by Senator Andy Brenner, who hates public education, and he knows, trust me, he knows I've told him that himself. He hates public education. He wants to scrap the whole system, and that's it. There's also a thing that actually kind of would have impacted you. They want to start putting partisan labels on school board races.
Yes.
So you would know if you're voting for a Republican or a Democrat. For the most part, I was on the board for 6 years. You were on the board for
8 years.
8 years. How many partisan issues did you have to deal with?
Really none.
Yeah.
And the thing is the beauty of that, I think that because of those labels are removed. Now granted, we all kind of know sometimes, but those labels are removed. So there's so much more, there's not even an aisle to reach across. Yeah. We're all working for the betterment of students. And when it comes to the board, I've recruited Democrats, I've recruited Republicans. I mean, as long as we are, pro public education and you're fighting for students, we may disagree a little bit along the way about how to get there, but isn't that what our system is all about?
Yeah. So I don't think adding a partisan label to what has traditionally been a nonpartisan issue is a good thing. That's just me. I've seen it, but that's one of the things in there, because again, there seems to be a very big focus for whatever reason on doing things that are very anti-public education. So Scott DeMauro is going to be here next week. We'll talk about all of that. It's going to be a good time. If you have any questions in the meantime, anything sneak in the last 20 seconds or so?
Nope.
All right, anything, and if you have any other questions, it's fine. Please get out. Please, please, please do something about litter. Don't throw things out on the road. I have the opportunity with the weather, walked around the neighborhood a couple of times, 2 different directions, and I filled 2 trash bags full of things. I'm fine to do it. But this is, again, you don't need to necessarily do it. I shouldn't be going down and seeing 2 trash bags full of stuff in any area whatsoever. So hopefully it just was a one-time thing. Maybe the wind caught a recycling bin at one day or something like that. But again, make sure you take care of it. Stay safe, stay respectful, and as always, please, please, please put your shopping carts away. You have no excuse. It's no longer too cold. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.